Hello, welcome back to teleSUR English, and join us as we go live to Brazil as the head of state of that South American country and Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, have a bilateral dialogue and a news conference. Let's see.
Venezuela desde siempre ha sido un aliado excepcional para Brasil. Sin embargo, debido a las equivocaciones, a los errores políticos, el presidente Maduro estuvo 8 años sin visitar Brasil y Brasil 8 años sin visitarlos allá en Venezuela, y nosotros tuvimos problemas de naturaleza política, económica, cultural y etcétera, comercial.
At this moment, we have live images of the press conference, the conjunct and joint press conference between the heads of state of Brazil and Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros and Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Both presidents met in the Planalto Palace in Brasilia, the capital of that South American country, Brazil, to assess bilateral issues of their agenda, as this is the first time they can meet in person, and also this is the first visit of a South American, a Venezuelan president to Brazil since 2015, when Maduro went to the assumption and the inauguration of former President Dilma Rousseff.
Positivamente para Brasil y menos para Venezuela, y decidimos hacerlo para reequilibrar y para que todos los países se sintiesen satisfechos con su flujo comercial. Por lo tanto, es un gusto enorme recibirlo aquí otra vez. Es difícil concebir un pasado de tantos años ininterrumpido con un país con el que...
And we have these live images from the Planalto Palace, the seat of government in Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, as the head of state of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, and the head of state of that South American country, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, have a news conference after a private bilateral meeting where they assess several gatherings and several issues of their both countries and agendas. In this case, both heads of state must assess some issues on environmental action, also climatic cooperation, economic cooperation, and other bilateral agreements. Let's remember, this is the first time Maduro visits Brazil after 2015, when he attended the inauguration of former President Dilma Rousseff, as the relations between Venezuela and Brazil had an estrangement of several years since 2019 to 2022 during the term in office of former President Jair Bolsonaro, who was hostile against Venezuela and also who was supporting the hostile actions of the U.S. and other right-wing countries and parties towards the South American nation. In this case, both heads of state have this dialogue, this private gathering, ahead of a gathering of UNASUR, the Union of South American Nations, that is going to be held tomorrow, Tuesday, May 30th, that is going to assess the possible relations or the possible reintegration of UNASUR and the reincorporation of Venezuela to this South American organization and gathering. In any case, this is a new day, this is a new awakening for Latin America and South America specifically, because the cooperation between Venezuela and Brazil is going to mark a milestone in the renewal of relations, in the renewal of the Latin American left organizations, and also the economic recovery after the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's remember that the Venezuelan president, Nicolás Maduro Moros, arrived on Sunday in Brazil on his first official visit during the administration of the Brazilian president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Maduro's arrival in Brasilia constitutes one more step in the re-establishment of bilateral and diplomatic relations between the two South American countries. The Venezuelan president will participate on May 30th in the meeting of South American presidents called by Lula da Silva. The presidents of at least 10 South American nations are expected to attend the summit on Tuesday. Maduro was received by the Secretary of Latin America and the Caribbean of the Brazilian Foreign Ministry, Gisela Maria Figueiredo Padovan, and also the ambassador of Caracas in Brasilia, Manuel Vicente Vadel. The Venezuelan president had not visited Brazil since 2015, when he attended the inauguration of the former president Dilma Rousseff for her second term. Relations between Brazil and Venezuela deteriorated during the government of the former Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro from 2019 to 2022, and now with the inauguration of President Lula da Silva, the relationship between the two countries had been recomposing step by step. Last Friday, the foreign ministers of Brazil, Mauro Vieira, and Venezuela, Ivan Gil, held a meeting via telephone in which they discussed priority issues of the bilateral agenda at a time of resumption of relations between the two countries. The Brazilian president received last week the credentials of the new Venezuelan ambassadors in Brasilia, Manuel Vedel. In this regard, the Venezuelan president spoke of a new starting point for the consolidation of the union between both brotherly peoples. On Monday, the Brazilian president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, called for an important meeting to be held. Let's listen.
Cultural, economics, based on science and technology based, and our young people in our universities. This alliance will be able to build, even with the cooperation of the armed force in the border to fight against drug trafficking. The Secretary of Defense of South America was created for us in the past to create, and it is possible to create it once again. And President Maduro, welcome to our country. Now you can talk to the media and dear President Lula, First Lady, ministers, delegates of the Venezuelan delegation, Vice President, the First Lady of Venezuela, and to all the media in first place, I would like to thank the welcome. I would like to thank everything that our delegation have had in the preparation of this bilateral meeting. We have had a very fruitful conversation with President Lula and with all his team. We have talked about the golden era of the relations between both countries, where Brazil and Venezuela were seen face to face. They found in the will, in a common will, of building our South America of peace, of prosperity, of equality. And as that was being stopped from one moment to the other, and now, Lula, I call the idealization of extreme relations in the international arena, and it's a way of implementing the actions towards right to qualify the relations, divide the relations, and stop them. Venezuela had a extremist model. It is even applied right now, implemented right now. And suddenly, from Brazil, they closed all the doors. Being neighboring countries. Being countries that will love as a people. It's amazing. They pretended to assault the embassy of Venezuela in the country. Social movement allowed with the Brazilian justice that they preserve this the space of the embassy. They closed all the doors. They closed the door of the financial relations, the economic relations, trade relations, cultural, political, diplomatic relations. And they tried, along with other governments, in this extremist model to impose Venezuelans an assistant government. That is in the past. But, as the song says, it is forbidden to forget. We need to have conscience of what, everything we have lived. Today we begin a new relationship between our countries, between our people. And in this new era, we should build a new map of cooperation, a new map of work that addresses all the areas of economy, all the areas of trade, education, health, culture, agriculture, that addresses all the area of relationship between the people, and that allows a sincere dialogue between governments, between the governments of Brazil and Venezuela, and the governments in general, especially in Latin America. We are prepared. Our people have had very difficult times. I recall the president in private. Venezuela had in Venezuela they launched sanctions and the economic. They sanctioned everything that it was possible to sanction, and everything that it was not possible as well. And Venezuela had an income of $56,000 from oil to $700 million a year, and we resisted. We resisted, as we say, with courage, with a smile, because we have never lost hope. We have never lost the hope of a better world. And resistance led us to the way of establishing an economic model of recovering from the war, and we have started in the way of the increase in the economy. Last year we had a 15% in the increase in the economy. Most the economy in non-oil, the first time in 20 years. This year there are forecasts of the World Bank and all this organism that Venezuela has an increase more than 5%, and we see the profits of those efforts. Venezuela is prepared, as I said, to resume the relations, the good relations with the investors and of Brazil. Venezuela is open with all guarantees to all the investors so that we can go back to the point of investment and development. So I believe that is very positive. That is very possible this visit, this minute today, and we love the history of the Brazilian people, the strength, the joy of the Brazilian people. And I wish that this relation, I hope that this relation new relation will never be closed once again, and that we together can face the challenges, ways, and towards the shared development. Brazil and Venezuela, we have to be together from now on and forever. Thank you.
Neste momento, o presidente da República, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, e o presidente
En este momento, el presidente de la República,
right now, at this moment, the president and the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, will answer to some questions of the journalists. You should say your names and the links of the media they represent. This expression that you have used recently is that Brazil has returned, and apparently in this meeting it is the return of Venezuela. What is the symbolism of this meeting between you and you regarding the meeting of the President of South America? What are the answers that you are offering to Maduro regarding and what are the aspirations that pretend to resume the bilateral relations? Right now it's very important. This moment is very important. There are several reasons. First, South America should convince that they need to work together as a bloc. We cannot imagine that each country for its own is going to solve its problems. That they have 500 years, and we're not talking about the period. It is the history. It is the history of all those countries, and some of the countries they have had the opportunity to be great countries, to have great incomes. There are 500 years with 500 years dealing with poverty. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. There's not a balance. We don't have sustained growth, and together we have 400 million people. Our gross domestic product is very high, and we have strength. We have strength in the months of negotiations. That's why. And for other moments, for other reasons, this moment is very important, and we shall meet once more. If we want the European Union as a model of integration, if we do not want, we can fix in the African Union. It comes with its own process of work from several years ago. Why in South America we live so separate from each other? Why? Almost all the countries that they learned for years that Brazil was its enemy. I will never forget what Chavez said, that when he was teaching in the military academy, they said to him that Brazil was his enemy and that he needed to take care of it. And that was the order for several countries, and the same with us. We did the same. The Brazilian elite loved to travel to Europe and visit the African continent, forgetting Mexico, the Caribbean, dreaming of fortune, so that we became an independent country. And that is not going to happen. That will never happen. It did not happen last century. It's not going to happen this century, and will never happen, except if the South American people, we have the courage to decide our destiny. Each country is going to do whatever it decides, and his rulers and its people have the courage and the will. If we want to strengthen the democratic relations, if we want to resume the policy, whatever, we need courage. And the visit of Maduro represents this moment. Tomorrow, we are going to listen to every country, and every one of us is going to return to its country with its ideas that will be discussed, and afterwards we are going to meet again. And the only thing I can say with total certainty, if in these years and now, after everything that the world has passed, in my presidency, I have only seen a setback in the world. I have seen these setbacks for years, regarding, especially with the pandemic. So we have to be united to discuss if we want to keep if we want to keep living like this, or if we want to be more strong and to form a bloc to negotiate with the forces and with more possibilities of doing more. For example, the agreement of Mercosur and the European Union, if there's a person that they want to sign this agreement, it's me. But we met on Friday night in the National Federation of Industry, and as you know, the public buys are subject that we cannot facilitate in this way. If we do the public buys, what is going to be to the small companies in order to produce and to sell to the government? Therefore, we need to talk. We need to talk to discover how to grow in the technological area. We love to export commodities, but as well we like to export manufactured products that will have more work, more employment, and will increase the economy. That's why it is important, the importance of Maduro's visit. It's the first step to Maduro's return, as 5 years ago I started.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon. My name is Graya, a journalist of Venezuela. Good afternoon. My question is to both presidents. Venezuela have stated his interest in joining the BRICS, and they have developed some issues so that this nation will be in the BRICS. Thank you very much. This question should be to Maduro. If the question is towards me, let me say that it is the first meeting of the BRICS after 8 years. And there are proposals of other countries that would like to be part of the BRICS, and we are going to discuss it, because it is the will of Brazil and the will of everyone. We are going to discuss all the requests, the official requests, and we are going to see. And if you ask me what is my thoughts, there is a very favorable fact. One of the subjects that we talk about, it was the role of the BRICS in the new political order. Any political order that is emerging right now, and it is drawing a multipolar world, new poles, new poles of power, of political, economic power, social power, military. This world that is emerging right now, it will have South America united in its diversity. We cannot let the ideology to be imposed. These ideologies that are extremists. Do you think like me? Do you think like me, or you're against me? We will not allow that. That's exclusive. On that base, we can never base a union of the need to diversify at America. The giant dream of Simón Bolívar, that it was to have America as a big united in order to participate in the construction of the equilibrium of the universe. Today, today stated that we are going to be united, that it is a culture of dialogue. Learn to listen, and from the culture of dialogue, we should advance in the great subjects of the common development, of the defense of the environment, especially in the Amazons, the social development, the development of the social system, of the health system that works in the whole continent, the development of the security of food security, the development of the energetic system. We have very important issues to talk about. The development of independence in finance that our America needs. But all the ones who flatter all those powers denied us and talk about the weakness in economic and for centuries to the people of the South. We should build this new geopolitic, and this new geopolitical has basic elements, and one is the Union of South America, and the Union of our America in diversity, and the other is the BRICS, the new geopolitic. The BRICS is a very important step towards this new order, and it has 5 powerful countries: Brazil, China, India, South Africa, and Russia. 5 powerful countries, and now BRICS are emerging. As a bloc that wants cooperation, peace. How BRICS has a lot of requests, more than 30 countries. There are the banks of the BRICS, presided by the big Brazilian, the Dilma Rousseff, the Bank of the BRICS. Yesterday I read the news that a great friend, Saudi Arabia, is making some steps to be part of the BRICS. Can you imagine that? If you ask me, do you aspire someday to be accepted in the BRICS? Venezuela says yes. We would like to be part of the BRICS in a modest way. Be part of the BRICS. And to form part of building this new geopolitical order that is emerging right now.
Boa tarde, presidentes. Eduardo Gayer, da Agência Estado, do Broadcast. Eu queria...
Good afternoon, President. I'm Eduardo. I would like to ask you if you have negotiated to resume buying to Venezuela to supply to the government regarding Brazil debt of the payments, and I would like to know if other countries of South America can start this cooperation. I'm going to answer briefly so that we can advance. We want to recover our energy relations with Venezuela. The line of Guri has to work once again, because nothing justifies that Roraima is the only state the only state that does not belong to the energetic system of Venezuela, and with thermoelectric, it is very more expensive and pollutes. The Minister of Energy of Brazil and Venezuela are going to discuss this issue, and they will find a solution. I hope that he will participate in the inauguration as they did in the moment. Besides, I would like to say that in politics we learn that we should build more relations. I need to build a narrative in order to grow. And Maduro knows very well the narrative that they have built regarding Venezuela. And this narrative, a few years ago, the minister and I traveled the world saying that it has nothing to do. And I believe you know very well what is the narrative that they have built. That they have built in Venezuela, the authoritarianism, anti-democracy. This narrative, you know it very well. And you have to unveil it, showing its own narrative so that people change its opinion. I have been in countries where people do not even know what Venezuela is, but they notice the country and that they have problems, and they have problems with democracy. And they should reconstruct its narrative. And everything that we have discussed today, his narrative is going to be better than any other narrative that is built against you. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable that a country is object of a lot of sanctions, as it is right now. It is in your hands to build your narrative so that we can beat everything, so that Venezuela will be a sovereign country. Only its people, through its free votes, chooses its rulers. Only that we have to do it. That's the only thing we have to do. And regarding the adversaries will have to apologize for the evil things they have done in Venezuela. Only that. I agree with what President Lula is saying. Venezuela has been victim of a wild campaign through traditional ways and for social media. It is a campaign that it's along with the political aggression, with the threats in several ways that we should not forget that they were triggered instantly. They tried to murder me, to kill me. In 2018, in August 2018, in 2019, they tried to impose other rulers and tried to make a civil war. The threats of military invasion that they did directly from the White House and the Pentagon, from the South Command. They tried to invade, and that we tried to neutralize a group of mercenaries that were trained in 2020 to all these aggressions. We had also the mediatic campaign. There was a narrative in the world that Venezuela is a failed state. It is not. It is an anti-democratic state. And a lot of things, along with forgetting the country and all the things that happen in the world. I can say that all this aggression, all this torture, all this torture to a country like Venezuela created a new conscience, a new national conscience of love to Venezuela. Today, Venezuela is other country. I can say that there are a lot of sectors in Venezuela, including the social media, including workers. They have a very different conscience that 70 years ago regarding its identity as Venezuelans, as a country. And the entire country has resisted all the difficulties in order to work and to move forward. We, in all these 25 years of revolution in Venezuela, there have been 29 elections, That's a world record. Our political forces, we have gained 27 and we have lost 2. In 2007, Chavez lost the referendum, and in 2015 we lost the election of National Assembly. And that is when the sabotage started. Recently, in 2020, there were elections in the National Assembly. That was perfect. 2021, little was said in the world. It was the election of the rulers. And within the 23 rulers in Venezuela, we gained 19. Opposition have 4 rulers. And you can say 4 good rulers. Leaders of the opposition. So Venezuela is ready. It's ready to the future challenges. To the future political, electoral challenges. We have defended our rights to independence, to sovereignty. We have conquered the peace that they tried to take away from us, and that Venezuela in peace is ready to the challenges of the future. Now, answering your question, the specific question, we have talked with the president, and we have said that Venezuela is ready to reconstruct the cooperation in areas of electricity, especially in the state of Roraima, with all the people. We have an offer of 120 ready to invest, and it is like $4 or $5 million in favor of to rebuild of these lines. If we solve the situation, soon we will reconnect the state of Roraima. It's a commitment that I assume in front of you, and I hope the cooperation and the support of the Brazilian investors that would like to do that.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Bianca Borrero de
Venezuela. Of the Venezuela. My question is towards both countries, and I would like to know if the framework of these bilateral meetings, there were subjects that were subject to the economic transaction in other coins that are not the dollar. Besides, I would like to ask if there is any improvement or any proposal regarding the development of joint policy regarding the defense. And the third question has to do with the imposition of the coercive measures towards the South American people. I would like to know if the meeting was addressed, any proposals so that the region with the meeting to this will establish policies that will face all these measures that stop the development of the South American countries. Thank you very much. I start and you finish. Well, in the first place, the subject we have not discussed it in this meeting. We talked in the past the possibility of trading with the coins of our countries, and I believe that there are options that are now in the world, and we have to start. We need to see the new options that we have in the world in order to work this subject. But in this opportunity, we will not talk about that. About defense, President Lula stated to meet with the Minister of Defense of Brazil to establish some measures regarding the defense of the people in the border and all the forms of criminality that are in the border. There are very worrying events that are happening, and it's a big border. It's a border with a lot of kilometers. Therefore, we should resume something that should have never been broken. The cooperation in security and defense. two countries, the giant Brazil that is giant and Brazil that is smaller with a wide border, and that they have not a phone to communicate and talk. There are some groups, to talk about the criminality that went through one country to the other. This is where do we see that? And we have 4 years of not communication in the subject of security. Therefore, we are going to solve the situation. We have the proposal of President Lula, and we hope that soon our Minister Vladimir is going to meet with the Minister of Defense here. We are going to establish a protocol of defense in real time. And regarding, we'll hope the meeting of tomorrow, in all the forums, in all these meetings, we only talk about truth. We only talk with the truth, the reality.
Y siempre estamos prestos al diálogo.
And we are open for dialogue. In all the multilateral forums, we have talked about the proposals of like as a region, we request to the United States lifting of all the sanctions and all the coercive measures against Venezuela and against all the countries that suffer, that are affected in a region by that. The world that they are doing, it is not a world. It is not a world that should be marked by the sanctions, by the economic persecution, by the blackmail with the dollar. It should be a world where there should be, as Lula said, it should be there should be freedom. We talk about freedom. We hope for freedom. Where is the financial freedom? Where is the financial freedom? Would you forbid a country to have its financial? Where is the freedom of? Where's the freedom where they forbid the use of a coin? Where they pursue the inverse so that they will not go to Venezuela. We talk about freedom in all these scenarios, and we talk about the reality, and we hope that the meeting of tomorrow of South America would be a very profitable meeting that would allow us to do some steps towards higher levels of cooperation and dialogue in South America. I'm not going to say that that it has never occurred to me to establish trade with our own coin. Since my first management, we had an agreement with Argentina that allowed that the investors could buy with the Brazilian coin. My dream is to have a coin, to have a common coin within our countries to use in our transactions. Therefore, we can be independent of dollar. And it's not possible that we do not have more freedom to negotiate. My dream is that BRICS will have a coin, as well as the European Union with dollar, with the euro. However, we should advance. A journalist wrote an article in the history of Sao Paulo about creating a coin to business in South America. This article was written. I suggest you to read, and you will see the truth. And the truth is that I dreamt and I keep dreaming about the existence of a new coin so that we can negotiate
independientemente del dólar. Yo no soy ministro de
apart from the
Hacienda y no
dollar.
sé hacer esas cosas. Pero por citar un ejemplo, Maduro no
But
tiene
for
dólares
instance,
para
Maduro
pagar
has
sus
dollars
exportaciones
to
ahora,
pay his
sus
exports.
importaciones ahora. Y a lo mejor podamos
Maybe we can
podamos pagar con moneda
maybe
de
we
otro
can
país
pay with the coins of
para
other countries. Maybe
todo eso se debe
maybe
a
we
los
can pay
Estados
all
Unidos
that,
que
and
han
it is a fault of the United States that they have done
exagerado. Yo
they
suelo
have
decir que
done
son peores que las guerras.
they have blocked, and the blockades are worse than war.
Los soldados, sin embargo,
And now we have the
cuando
field
tienes un
soldiers,
bloqueo,
but
¿quiénes
when there is a
mueren?
blockade,
Mueren
the ones who
mujeres,
died are
personas
the
mayores que
women,
nada tienen que
children,
ver con las disputas
innocent people that
ideológicas. Para concluir, sueño con una
they
moneda distinta del dólar que nos
in order
permita
to build this
negociar
dream of a
con
different
los
coin
países
apart
que
from the dollar, in order to
suministran
negotiate with the countries that
con los
supply the
que
products and with the ones who trade.
tenemos una experiencia
Besides, we
muy
have
exitosa. El Consejo de
a very
Defensa de
personal
Sudamérica,
experience,
que
the Council of Defense of America,
instancia que fue votada unánimemente por todos los países
and it was
de
voted for all the voted by all the countries of INASUR,
hay que
and we should
reanudar
resume.
urgentemente para
We should
poder
urgently
luchar
resume
contra el
in
tráfico
order
para
to
proteger nuestras fronteras.
to fight
Nuestras
against
fronteras son
drugs,
muy
to protect our
extensas.
borders,
Y nuestras fuerzas armadas tienen que
and our
trabajar
armed
de
forces
manera
should
cohesa
work
y
should work
juntas para
together
poder
in
asegurar
order
la soberanía de nuestros
to assure the sovereignty of our countries.
Lo tercero que quiero
And a
comentar
third I would like to add is that
esta reunión
this
que
meeting
se celebrará mañana es
that
un
will be held tomorrow
reencuentro
is
de muchas personas que ya han
a
estado
meeting of a lot of people that have been together,
de los presidentes
and most of the presidents that are going to be tomorrow
todavía de ninguna reunión. Solo yo
have not been in any other meetings, only Maduro and me,
participó en una reunión de una
that he participated in a UNASUR meeting.
vamos a tener que hacer es mostrar
What we should do is what we must do is to show the other presidents
necesariamente
that
tendrán que seguir
they are the ones who will have to work
trabajábamos,
together.
podremos trabajar distinto. Sin
We have to
embargo,
work
la
together
idea
to form a
central
bloc, and the central idea
trabajar es en la construcción de un bloque
is that we should work towards the construction of a bloc regarding the environment, the economy. We have the same goals, and we have to work towards achieving those goals. And I'm very positive that we will have success. We are not going to decide. We are not going to decide anything tomorrow. We are just going to discuss, and we are going to see the possibilities to work in other meetings. I remember that UNASUR was officially in 2008 in Cusco in a meeting in which they discussed, and Toledo walked away and didn't want to talk because they don't have they didn't want to talk, and we are here today in order to have dialogues. And those Europeans have intolerance, and we should and regarding economy, the environment, we have had some intolerance, and I'm looking forward for tomorrow, and a very positive and a very thankful for Maduro for coming to my country, and I hope that never again in the history of Brazil we will see in the situation that was before. This is a joint declaration for the part of the president of Nicolás Maduro Moros and the president of Luiz Inácio Lula. This way.
And we were listening live a joint news conference of Brazil President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Venezuela's head of state, Nicolás Maduro. Both presidents revealed last years of bilateral relations, even the years of estrangement under the former President Bolsonaro's term. President Maduro condemned the support Bolsonaro gave to violent actions against Venezuela, promoted by the U.S., and the halt of diplomatic relations among what they called fraternal nations and close neighbors. Maduro said this is a fresh start for bilateral cooperation in health, agriculture, culture, economy, and trade, always under open and sincere dialogue. Maduro said Venezuela offers guarantees for Brazilian investors who wish to bring in capital. Answering to the press, Lula highlighted the importance of this rapprochement as a way to enhance Latin American unity as a whole, with Brazil as a diplomatic and economic cornerstone, and also offered prospects of the UNASUR gathering to be held on May the 30th by saying it will be the occasion to find common solutions to regional issues in the aftermath of COVID-19 and the worldwide recession. Regarding the possible integration of Venezuela to BRICS group, Lula said his bid is going to be assessed and that he is favorable to Venezuela's entry. For his part, Maduro highlighted Venezuela's admission into BRICS will enhance multipolarity and progressive ideologies. Lula also said his government intends to recover energy cooperation with Venezuela and also condemned the smear campaigns against his nation. Both heads of states condemned the U.S. and the West sanctions against Venezuela. We will offer you more details in upcoming news briefs. Stay with us.